All right, Yogi, welcome to the 5-day challenge. And before we dive into the actual drills of this challenge, I want to talk about handstands a little bit. Now, by far the biggest issue that everyone has is shoulder flexion, the ability to reach your arm up over your head. What tends to happen is if you have limited shoulder flexion, either you go into this deep internal rotation, your elbow sticks out and your elbow bends, or if you have limited shoulder flexion, then you come into a back bend, which is why it's really difficult for some people to have this straight line in their handstand. This doesn't also just apply to handstands, this is also true for wheel pose. So if you struggle with wrist pain every time you come into a wheel pose, then increasing your shoulder flexion mobility is going to be extremely helpful. So with that said, let's dive right in. All right, so I got a little sheep. Okay, so I got a little sheep here, but you can use the edge of a couch, you can use a bench, you can use a chair, whatever you want. But the idea here is you want to place your hands on something and come into your passive range for shoulder flexion. Key point here is if you can root your butt down and make your spine super straight, helpful. So if this is easier from a tabletop position or if you want to lie down, that's also okay. Now from here, I'm going to hug my ribs in so I take out any kind of back bend, straighten out the spine. With the arms straight out in front of me, I have my palms facing down on Sir Sheep. And then here, I'm going to drop my chest down and see where my limit is. And where your limit is gonna be where you start to squeeze your shoulder blades together, where you start to bend the elbows, where you start to come into a back bend. And you should feel your ribs against your thighs if you start coming into a back bend. So here, we'll just say this is my passive range. And then you want to apply a little bit of pressure down, pushing your hands and your forearms down into Sir Sheep, if you have a sheep, until you feel a little bit of tension right around here. And you're gonna hold it here for about 5 breaths. And after about 5 breaths, you're gonna try and not move anything, and then just lift up one arm at a time, turning this into an active drill. Now the key thing here is you don't wanna twist the upper body, or start shifting the hips, or start coming into a back bend, okay? And then you're gonna do that one arm at a time. I would say holding the active range for about 3 to 5 seconds, do about 5 rounds. So what that looks like is passive range, you're gonna hold your passive range for about 5 seconds, do your isometric, which is pushing down, hold that for about 3 to 5 seconds, and then do active range one at a time, 3 to 5 seconds, 5 rounds, all right? I'll see you tomorrow.